Modern life seems busier and more chaotic than ever. Technology moves ever forward, providing a never-ending stream of new gadgets and devices. Fueling this digital revolution is a medium that has forever changed our lives: the Internet. But what drives the Internet today? Beyond commerce, is there a human factor that fuels this space? We'll explore 4 .org websites that speak to our most fundamental desire: to connect with each other. We begin our journey with the world's largest online encyclopedia.
I first started noticing Wikipedia probably in about 2004, and every time I would read one of the articles, there was usually something I saw that I thought I could fix that a little bit. I could improve it a little bit. Maybe I could fix the prose, or maybe I could add some information. So at the back of my mind, I kept thinking, I really should join up. I really should start contributing. But it took me until 2007 to finally decide, okay, this is it. I'm going on there. I have found in my life that when I'm happiest is when I'm helping other people. And I feel with Wikipedia that you are helping potentially an enormous audience all the way around the world. There have been a few times when I've worked very closely with other editors. Several years ago, we created this article, Love Dart, which is about a very strange structure that slugs and snails use. It's literally a dart that they fire into one another as part of courtship before mating. It was very cool because I was here in New York City. Then there was somebody in the Czech Republic who was working, and the third person was in New Zealand. The guy in the Czech Republic did most of the hardcore science research, finding information and dropping it into the article. I spent most of my time cleaning up the prose. And then the guy who was in New Zealand, he did all of the internet research. So he was pulling pictures and racking up references and racking up external links. We just layered it in like making a wonderful soup or stew. And in this case, too many cooks was just exactly the right amount. It was just an amazing feeling to work so closely and intimately with the 3 people. And at the same time, these are people you don't know, you've never seen, you don't know anything about them, and yet you're working together to build something amazing. People in general with Wikipedia are just surprised when you tell them, I edit it, you could edit it, anybody can edit it. And then their immediate response is, why isn't it complete chaos? And I tell them, did you look at it today? Did it look like complete chaos? No, because as it evolved, it sort of developed its own immune system, which protects it against various sorts of attack. So it's really in surprisingly good shape. Almost everybody I know is using it almost every day. And even though they aren't necessarily going to be looking at one of my articles, it's still my encyclopedia, it's our encyclopedia, and that just makes me happy, it makes me proud, yeah.
As we spend more and more time online, we often overlook the many real-life connections the internet fosters every day. With more than 30 billion page views a month, another .org website brings people together like no other, and proves that a single online posting can become a life-changing event.
When we were kids, we used to play a game called Bigger and Better. And it's just this really simple game. You start with a small object, trade it for something bigger, repeat. And eventually, after many trades, you can wind up with something huge. And I just loved the idea of this game always. And I really wanted to try this out, as a bit more of an adult, a bit more independence. And the motivation for making the trades was really to meet people and, make friends, have adventures, see where the trades would take me. But I was sort of nervous to go out in the streets and do this. And that's when my cousin told me, try it on Craigslist. I was cleaning out my wallet. One of the things I had was the original red paperclip. So we took a picture of the paperclip, posted it on Craigslist, asked if anyone wanted to trade something bigger or better. I kept it in the back of my head that I was going to start with a paperclip and trade all the way to a house. And then eventually the offers started rolling in and trades started to happen. So I started with a red paperclip, traded it for a pen shaped like a fish, which went for a little doorknob, cabinet knob. Traded the cabinet knob for a camping stove. Camping stove went for a 1,000-watt electrical generator. The electric generator went for an instant party, which was comprised of an empty beer keg, an IOU to fill the keg, and a neon Budweiser sign. I swapped that for a snowmobile. Snowmobile went for a trip for two to the Canadian Rockies from anywhere in North America, trip to Yak. Traded the trip to Yak for this cube van. I traded the cube van for a recording contract for 1 year of rent in a house in Phoenix. Year of rent went for one afternoon with Alice Cooper. Afternoon with Alice Cooper went for a Kiss snow globe, like a glitter globe. Glitter globe went for a paid speaking credited role in a Hollywood film. And the last trade was the best trade of all. Bert Roach, the economic development officer of the town of Kipling, Saskatchewan, small town of 1,000 people in rural Canada, had this crazy idea. The town owned a couple houses, and he wanted to trade one of those houses for the movie role and then throw this huge festival in town. It took him about a week or two to get town council approval. They approved it, and then I went to Kipling, made the final trade, walked into the house for the first time, and we started planning the housewarming right away. 1,000 people in town, 3,500 people showed up over the Labor Day long weekend. People from literally all over the world came there. All of my family, all of my girlfriend's family. 12 of the 14 different people I traded with were there in Kipling as well, so it was the first time they got to meet each other. It started with an idea, then a random posting on Craigslist, then a follow-up, and there in Kipling, Saskatchewan was Karina with the original red paperclip. And it was 1 year later, and we kind of started laughing, like, we can't believe this all happened in the last year. I took a risk. Everybody took these good risks. Shook hands, agreed on trying it out, and it worked really well. And I think everyone involved benefited, so that was the best part. We moved into the house right away. We lived there off and on for many years. I ended up actually donating the house to the town of Kipling, and they have it now as a cafe tourist attraction. Donating the house at the end back to the town of Kipling really felt good in the fact that it's kind of like when you climb a mountain. You get to the top, you take a few pictures, and then you go back down and get on with your life. It's not about sitting at the top and celebrating how you're at the top. It's about constantly starting new things and building them up. The story gets focused on objects, paper clips, snow globes, houses, these type of things. And I always say it was about the people. The best part of each transaction was actually getting to meet people, spend some time with them, have a meal, learn about their lives. The objects were more just an introduction to that actual experience. There's all these technologies out there, but all it exists for is for people to communicate with each other. I love the fact that you can put a posting on Craigslist and you have no clue when or who or how many people are gonna get back to you about buying that or selling that. That's, to me, is quite exciting. It's this like unknown factor, the mystery of a human interaction.
In cities and towns across the globe, people are using the internet not just to connect, but also to make their voices heard. However one may feel about the Occupy movement, few can deny the power of the internet to help mobilize people for a cause.
There was an article that Douglas Rushkoff wrote about this, where he talks about the typical 20th century movement was structured like a novel, where there's a beginning, middle, and an end, and there's main characters, and there's a plot line you can follow through. And this isn't like that. This is structured like the internet, where it's this network right? It's this star and node structure where there's webs of people all connected and talking to each other at all different levels autonomously. And that has an ability to just move faster than anything we've ever seen before.
Adbusters had put out this call to Occupy Wall Street and said, let's flood Lower Manhattan with 20,000 people. OccupyWallStreet.org came about as a result of a woman named Justine who had heard the call from Adbusters, and the next day I think registered this domain name and started to sort of assemble a team of people that would help build this site. And it quickly took off. And it was amazing how in just these first few weeks in July and August of last year, people suddenly heard Occupy Wall Street and were like, wow, I gotta get involved in this, I gotta do something. And if I can't get out to New York City to actually occupy, I wanna know how else I can help. Can I donate? Can I send food or clothing or tents or whatever it may be? And this website, I think early on served as a really powerful connecting tool for activists to see what we were doing. And then as it began to really quickly send out, blast out video and media about what was happening, because the mainstream media really was in blackout mode at that point. They saw something, there was a little sort of blurb on the radar, and then, okay, a bunch of kids in a park, we're going away. And that's when our media kicked in. And that website and many others, you know, were really instrumental in making that happen.
To go to your own community.
The movement is everywhere. You can't find a city around the world that doesn't have an occupation. There are tiny little towns in the back corners of Vermont that have 6 people standing with signs on, on the side of the street. And they all have a web presence, and that's how we find them. So you have OccupyBoston.org, OccupyPhilly.org, OccupyTennessee.org, OccupyFlorida.org, all these sites, whether they're at state levels, at city levels, at national levels.
The world of activism has come to mirror the world of the internet. Completely decentralized, crowdsourced, interactive, open source, unowned. It's an awesome, decentralized, nodal structure that nobody can understand. And I think that that's beautiful. That's what's so amazing about it. And will Occupy Wall Street persist as it currently exists? Who knows?
In our connected world, geographical distance no longer separates us. Beyond the national stage, One.org website proves that when tragedy strikes many miles from home, we can reach beyond our borders to help those in need.
South by Southwest is a launch pad for innovators. You will see business entrepreneurs, designers, developers, hackers, people who are working on developing new products and services, people who are marketing them, people who are publishing books, musicians, artists, filmmakers. So it's a phenomenal, talented, creative, right brain and left brain group of people who are really passionate about doing cool stuff.
30分かかっていない。大体3時10分前後。十分に考えられますので、もうとにかく海にはもう絶対に近づかない、高台に逃げるということをしていただきたいと思います。
The earthquake actually hit Japan in the early morning hours the day before the South by Southwest conference started. So most of us were inbound when the devastation was unfolding and had seen it in our hotel rooms, unfolding before our eyes. I got to the conference and I walked up to the Blogger Lounge and ran into Deb Ng, who coordinates the Blog World Conference. And I looked at her and she looked at me and I said, I just don't know if I can do this. I said, I can't pretend that I didn't just see what I saw. And she said, I know, I feel the same way. And I said, we got to do something. I go, we got to at least start driving donations to the Red Cross. We sat down and said, okay, let's procure a domain name and let's get a website up and let's start our own donations to funnel it through so we can measure what we drive to the Red Cross and potentially get sponsors and donors on board for us. We started working on that, and as we were tweeting I got a message from somebody that said, have you met Rob Wu yet? He's downstairs in another lounge. He's already started a URL for this. I tweeted him back and I said, hey, get up here. We've got people working on this. I'm on the phone with the Red Cross. Let's join forces. And that's what we did.
So I heard from my girlfriend that this person named Lee has started her own effort at this other lounge upstairs. And so I went up there. It sounded like Lee had a strong vision for what she wanted to do, as well as she had a right heart. Because I wanted to work with somebody that that had the same vision and the same heart as I had.
We actually thought that maybe we could raise $10,000 as a little grassroots things with our social media influencer friends. The way that it all came together was pretty amazing. Everything we talk about with regard to the potential of new media and the web and .org and what you can do online, it culminated in this grassroots opportunity. It started off gradually and then exploded.
We have influencers on social media tweeting about us. We have speakers on stage talking about our campaign. We have South by Southwest organizers, promoting us, supporting us in every way possible.
When we first started, our goal was to raise $10,000. We raised that to 10 very quickly. We raised it to 20, then 40, then 80, and by the end of the festival, we were at 110,000 with commitments for about 30,000 more.
After the festival ended, the campaign didn't stop. We had people who wanted to pitch in and contribute and support even more. So the band Hanson created a whole album to raise support. We had corporate sponsors that pitched in. We had people that could continue to fundraise through their friends and family to get even more donations. I'm really proud. When we first started, we didn't know that we'd get such a great response from the community, and we did. And that makes me very proud of everybody here, everybody that supported us, everybody that rallied behind us, and it's just a really good feeling.
I've always felt that everyone has the ability to make a difference. We have God-given talents and abilities. We have an amazing array of tools at our disposal. And I think if people would only realize how more empowered they are now than ever before in history. South by Southwest for Japan was just one example of many, many ways that people are trying to follow the convictions that they have within themselves to make this world a better place.
For many, the internet has fundamentally changed the way that we live our lives. But as these .org websites have shown, rather than shaping us, we are shaping the internet. And as we grow as digital citizens, we'll continue to build this human network and find new ways to connect with each other.